Welcome back to the Topic Plus Revision series. This is the day 8 walkthrough and today's topic is factors, multiples, primes. So please make sure you have your booklet, you've attempted the questions first, and we'll go through the answers shortly. So the first question here asks us to list all the factors of 24. So when I find factors, I like to find them in pairs, and factors will always come in pairs together. So this is a good way to lay it out. We always start with the smallest one, which is 1 times 24. And if we do them in order and we increase them, we can see that it'll be 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Now when we get to this, all we have to look at is, well, what factors are there left between 4 and 6? Well, the only whole numbers between 4 and 6 is 5. 5 clearly doesn't go into 24, so therefore we know we've listed all of our factors here. So our factors then would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. They're all the factors of 24. Now the next question asks us to list the first 7 multiples of 9. Now the multiples is just another thing, another way to say your times tables. It's the result for your times tables. So the first 7 multiples of 9. So we start with 9 and write a little colon just to say that's what we're using. And then we just do 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 3 is 27, 36, 45, 54, and finally 63. Now we could keep going, but it only asks for the first 7, so they're the first 7. So remember, the first 7 multiples of 9 are just 9 times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, and times 7. And that's how we find the factors and multiples of numbers. Now this question asks us to work out the highest common factor and lowest common multiple of 16 and 44. Now you may have seen different ways of doing this before, for example, listing all the factors of 16, listing all the factors of 44, and then finding the biggest one, or listing all the multiples of 16 and all the multiples of 44, and then finding the smallest one that matches on both lists. Here's an alternative method for you. What we're going to do is we're going to start by writing this as a fraction, and we're going to put the small number over the big number. So we're going to do 16 over 44. Now what we're going to do is we're going to simplify that as much as we can. Now I can see both of those can be divided by 4, so that's 4 over 11. So 4 over 11 is fully simplified, and we just have to look and go, well, how did we get from here to here? We divided that by 4. Because we divided that by 4, we can just say the highest common factor is 4. So whatever we simplify overall, that's what we would have ended up with. Now if we decided to do it step by step and we had to divide by 2, all we do is all those numbers we've divided by, we multiply those together to give us our highest common factor. Our lowest common multiple is done in a slightly different way. All we're going to do is multiply diagonally. So for our lowest common multiple, we can do 16 times 11, or if you want to, you can go the other direction and go 44 times 4. Either of those two answers will give you 176. So therefore our lowest common multiple is 176. And our highest common factor is 4. Now the next question asks us to write 2025 as a product of prime factors. So we're going to start with 2025. Well, straight away we know that 2025 can be divided by 5 because it ends in a 5. So we know 5 is one of the numbers that divides it. Now you might not be able to figure that out in your head. So what we can just do is do a little bus stop over on the side. 5 into 2025. Well, 5 into 20 goes 4 times, 5 into 2 doesn't go, 5 into 25 goes 5 times. So that's 405. 405 isn't prime, so we'll split that again, because we can divide it by 5 again. And that's 5 and 81. Again, if you need to, just do another bus stop to figure out that 81. 81 now is down to the sort of numbers we'll be used to working with, so that would be 9 and 9. And your 9s can be split into 3 and 3. And all of your 3s are prime, so we're finished. Now writing that as its product of prime factors, remember product means multiply. So we're going to have 3 to the power of 4 multiplied by 5 to the power of 2, because there are 4 3s that we've circled and there are 2 5s, and that's 2025 as the product of prime factors. Now this next question expands a little bit on the product of prime factors. It says given that m equals 2 to the 5 times 3 cubed times 11, write 44m as the product of prime factors. Now this 44m just means 44 multiplied by m. So because we're looking at product of prime factors, let's split 44 and write that in the product of its prime factors. So we've got 4 times 11, and then 4 is 2 times 2. So 44 is the product of prime factors, is 2 squared times 11. So then 44m would be 2 squared times 11, that's our 44. And then m is 2 to the 5 times 3 cubed times 11. Now if we group together the common ones, we've got a 2 squared and a 2 to the 5. So that means we've got 2 to the 7. There's 7 of them in total. The 3 cubed is on its own, so we just have times 3 cubed. And then finally we've got a 11 and an 11, so that's 11 squared. So 44m is the product of prime factors is 2 to the 7 times 3 cubed times 11 squared. So our final question gives us two numbers x and y written as the product of prime factors. It first asks us to find the highest common factor. Now when we find the highest common factor when the numbers are written as the product of primes, what we do is we multiply the common prime factors. Now common meaning what we share or what they have matching. So we multiply the common prime factors. So in this case the highest common factor, first we look at our 2's. There's 2 2's in the y, or 2 squared in y, there's 2 cubed in x. So matching in both we have 2 squared. There's no match for the 3 to the 4, there's no match for the 5, but there is a match here for the 7's. So we can take a 7 as well as part of our highest common factor, which in this case is going to give us 2 squared, which is 4, and then 4 times 7 is 28. So the highest common factor of those two numbers is 28. So remember, when we're finding the highest common factor, if our numbers are written as the product of prime factors, we just multiply the common prime factors. For the lowest common multiple, we do it slightly different. The lowest common multiple, we do the highest common factor multiplied by the unused prime factors. So it's the ones we haven't used yet. Okay, so in this case that's going to be 28 times. Now in x there was a 2 that we didn't use because we only used 2 squared. There's 2 cubed there, so there's an extra 2. And we didn't use any of the 3, so it's 3 to the 4. But we did use the 7. In y we used the 2 squared. We didn't use the 5. And we only used one of the 7's, so there's another 7 left over. Now in non-calculator paper the numbers would be smaller here, so you would be able to do this multiplication without a calculator, but these numbers are quite large, so we're going to use a calculator. And if we multiply all those together, we find out that the lowest common multiple is 158,760. So again, when the numbers are written as the prime factors, if you're finding the highest common factor, you multiply the common prime factors. If you're finding the lowest common multiple, you do the highest common factor times any of those prime factors you didn't use as part of the highest common factor. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. Nice quick one today, a short topic to revise. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.